What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 1 of the Janitors podcast. Here today with Filthy Phil, aka P. Dens,
What's up, everybody?
and our producer, IT, aka ITMK6 on Xbox.
What it is, everybody? You know the vibes.
You know the vibes.
This is episode 1. Basically, had the idea to talk about dude stuff. That's what we talk about normally, so we figured we'd record it. I just want to start with a few intros today. Phil, you want to go first? Talk about yourself a little bit.
Yeah, sure. All right. My name's Phil. I'm from South Portland, Maine. I grew up playing hockey, football, and lacrosse. Obviously, lacrosse isn't like a cool sport to talk about because the leagues are trash. But yeah, that's pretty much me. I'm married and have a 3-month-old daughter. Back to you, Matt.
IT, you want to go next?
Of course, I'd love to. My name is Ira, aka ITMK6 on Xbox. I am a producer in film school right now, finishing up. I graduate next semester. So I figured when I met these guys, I was like, why not add this to my resume to produce? So I'm excited to get this podcast going and make sure that we get the fans what they want, because they want some content. We've got tons of content for you, so I'm excited to get that out, and let's get this thing rolling.
We got all the content. Well, I'm Matt from Walkersville, Maryland. Mainly played baseball, but I've always been a fan of every sport, whatever sport it was. I'm down to watch it. Big stat guy, so prepare your brains
Stack
for
guy,
some
Matt.
statistics. Well, first, it is wild card weekend for the NFL just wrapped up. It's pretty wild. Starting with Patriots Titans.
Yikes. It's a rough one.
New England guy Phil, you want to lead us off with that?
Yeah, so just so everybody knows, I'm a pretty much all Boston, New England sports fan. So watching my Patriots get dismantled by Derrick Henry last night was devastating. It started out, ending the first half wasn't too bad. It's 14-13. Is it acceptable? I was like, all right, we got a chance in the second half. And then Tom Brady and the entire Patriots offense just disappeared in the second half and threw a pick. And Tom Brady threw a pick six with like 9 seconds left. So, it's pretty devastating to watch. Two weeks in a row having teams that are, probably shouldn't even been in the playoffs coming into Gillette and dismantling the Patriots.
It was a surprise to me that what could be, I doubt Tom Brady's going to retire on that note, but it could be Tom Brady's last throw in a Patriots uniform in Gillette was a pick
I
six to his teammate.
I actually agree. I don't think I see him coming back. And if he does, he already said earlier this year that if he does come back, it's not going to be a team friendly deal anymore because he's been taking those for too long. So he's got to get his while he can. I don't know. Tom Brady was very consistent last night, other than the pick six, but it was a tip ball. So you can't really blame him on that. But there was a couple times where he had really nice throws in tight windows, and there were catches. But once again, the Patriots #1 in drops in the NFL this season. And N'Keal Harry had a couple drops. Julian Edelman had a big drop on third down. That's just, you can't have drives killed like that with third down drops, especially from the best receiver in the playoffs statistically.
I could absolutely see Tom Brady playing until he's 50 if he wanted to, but I'd already be retired if I was him.
Oh yeah.
We also had the Seahawks-Eagles game, which is about how everyone expected. Big Seahawks came out trying to run the ball, couldn't. Big emphasis on defense, and then Carson Wentz goes down again. I mean,
That guy just has the worst luck.
He can't
it,
stay healthy.
Come
it was a
He just
awkward
can't.
tackle. It was an awkward landing, and it's just, as a Redskins fan, I can't even dislike Carson Wentz as a person and as a player, and even as a Redskins fan, it hurts me to see him always down. Josh McCown came in. I don't know if you guys saw that he put everything he had into it. He was literally crying on Zach Ertz's shoulder after the game. It's pretty crazy. yeah, Josh McCown he's been in the league for 16 years. That was his first shot at playing a playoff game, and he put it all out there, but
Yeah.
just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, the
well,
Eagles have
this
had the
time
injury
they
bug
didn't
all
have,
season too.
This time they didn't have Nick Foles to, help save them. Unfortunately.
Yeah, and Nick Foles just went and robbed Jacksonville of $88 million. Trash.
He's golfing right now.
Yeah, he's been golfing since he broke his shoulder. He's like, yeah, let's go sit on the golf course. We'll be all right.
We also had kind of an upset to me. I thought the Saints were going to beat the Vikings, but
Yeah.
Vikings scored in overtime. Ex-Redskin Kirk Cousins on a back corner fade to Kyle Rudolph, who was completely mismatched. He was twice the dude's size.
Oh yeah. I never expected Kirk Cousins to go into a building and actually win a playoff game. And they beat the Saints at the Dome, and that's crazy.
So the two best quarterbacks, you could argue top two all time, eliminated on the first wild card weekend.
Crazy.
Also NFL news, wanted to get into some of the firings.
My favorite part.
Start with the NFC East. The
Oh,
Redskins,
yeah.
my Washington Redskins,
Wow. Great
hire.
organization, by the way.
It's on the uprise. Bruce Allen is finally out of the organization. They hire Riverboat Ron Rivera, 2-time Coach of the Year, took the Panthers to 15-1, took them to the Super Bowl. They lost, but they still got there. He immediately hires a proven defensive coordinator, Jack Del Rio, who, as anybody who's ever even played Madden could see, what needed to happen was switch the Redskins defense to 4-3. The first thing he did. It's a complete culture change. Ron Rivera got rid of the shuffleboard tables, ping pong tables. He said this is a work environment.
No fun at all, boys.
The Redskins also fired their entire medical staff after 17 years of watching people miss game after game. So we're finally getting good culture, good medical attention. It's on the come up. A firing that was a little rushed, in my opinion, was the Giants firing Pat Shurmur.
Oh yeah, what? One season? Bro. Or was it his second season?
It was
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. He didn't even have a chance. He had Daniel Jones for 1 year, and they weren't even that bad.
No.
Yeah, no.
They literally were. They were an okay team.
As
Daniel
a Giants
Jones
fan, that was just very interesting to see. I was like, oh, come on, give him one more shot. I mean, look how long we gave McAdoo. Like, what? They gave him way more opportunity. Like, and he put in Geno Smith and benched Eli for no damn reason. And I was at the one game where they won, and it was unbelievable. But, hey, it happens.
Daniel Jones showed flashes of being good all season. I don't know if he proved yet that he was worth the 6th overall pick, but it's hard when they trade Odell.
Yeah, he was thrown into the fire to begin with. Like,
doesn't have the best O-line.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the best receivers.
I'm just so glad that Eli is going to go down with a negative record as a starting quarterback.
Phil?
So excited.
2-0 against the Patriots.
Keep it down over there.
Yeah, I mean, hey, they beat us twice in the Super Bowl. I got to have at least that to hang over his head.
Is there a way to mute Phil real quick? Cause yeah, that's not
And
right now.
the last dumpster fire of the NFC East, the Cowboys finally got rid of Jason Garrett. I was hoping they'd keep him around because he wasn't getting it done. They immediately interviewed Mike McCarthy, who's a proven good NFL coach. He could definitely put that team over the edge. So I'm really hoping Jerry Jones doesn't hire him.
You know who needs to get fired is Jerry Jones. He is the reason the Cowboys organization is so terrible. At no point in any season with a roster looking like that should you be going 8-8. No way.
He's Dan Snyder, but take away Dan Snyder's personality problems, legal off-field problems. and pretty much success for the past 30 years.
I've never
20
seen
years.
an owner be the face of a franchise so much. That's crazy. Like Jerry Jones is like balls deep in an interview before Jason Garrett even gets done talking to the team at the end of a game. Like, that's crazy.
Continuing on the Pat Shermer, arguably not enough time train. Browns fired Freddie Kitchens after a season and a half, basically being the head coach. That was a little bit more justified than the Giants, but I still understand the point of giving a coach 1 year to try to rebuild a team.
No, it's not enough time.
With that roster, there aren't many excuses you can give Freddie Kitchens, but I think if you're going to hire a coach, draft a young rookie quarterback, have half the team be under 25, you got to give them more than one season. It's not the Browns, it's the Browns. They're not going to go from worst to first in a season and a half. That's not how that works, especially in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean they showed flashes this year. Like they beat Baltimore at Baltimore. Like that. If you're giving the number one seed in the AFC a run for their money in their building as a team that went 7-9, 6-10, that's they're not a bad team. It's just the culture in Cleveland needs to change. So I think that the firing of Freddie Kitchens was justified, just because he had the two lackadaisical type of culture in that locker room, and obviously there's just way too many personalities in that locker room to have that laxness like that. Because I mean, if Bill Belichick had the Browns, I guarantee they go 12-4.
That's fair.
At a very minimum.
That's fair. He definitely tried too hard to be a player's coach instead of finding a good middle ground. There's no reason. To be fair, also, Freddie Kitchens is not a good play caller.
No.
Watching their games, they have Nick Chubb, and they were like bottom 5 in rushing attempts.
Yeah, dude could have put up numbers.
Yeah.
He did put up numbers.
He averaged like 6 yards a carry.
Pretty sure he still put up like 1,200 yards, and they barely ran the ball.
Yeah, but imagine if he did run the ball.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Next thing on the agenda I was thinking about earlier. I was thinking of these young quarterbacks in the league, and the Bears just said that they're rolling with Trubisky. You see a lot of other Dwayne Haskins starting. Drew Lock looks good after the first couple of games. I was trying to go through, get your guys' opinion on which quarterbacks are not the answer. I think Mitch Trubisky, a lot of people probably think he's not the answer in Chicago. But
I agree. I do not think he is the answer in Chicago. I just don't think he's built to be a number one quarterback in an organization like Chicago.
If he would have been a great quarterback if they sold out on being a grounded pound run first team.
Absolutely.
And they have Tariq Cohen, they have the Lightning, they had Jordan Howard, the Thunder. They traded him for a late round pick. They gave him away. They gave him to the Eagles.
Yeah.
So they're trying to use Trubisky in an area where he shouldn't be being used. I mean, Matt Nagy is supposedly a good play caller, good offensive guru, but I think he needs to figure out Mitch's strengths better.
Yeah.
And it feels like he's trying to make him do stuff he's not supposed to be doing.
I also think that they need to figure out – I think this has been a problem with a lot of teams this year is you expect quarterbacks to be these amazing, just over-the-top players when they have nothing around them. Like, look at Tom Brady this year, throwing to undrafted rookies, didn't have N'Keal Harry until the 10th week, didn't have a Gronk, didn't have anything. He still went 12-4. I mean, Mitch Trubisky, I think they just barely missed the playoffs at 7-9 or 8-8, something like that. But who does he have? Cordero Patterson, who's a kick returner. He's not a wide receiver. He's a special teams guy. Taylor Gabriel, who's tiny, not a vertical threat at all.
Madden God, but not real life God.
Yeah, I mean you could throw verts to him in Madden all the time, but not in real life. It's not realistic to base a especially when you have the Tariq Cohens and the Jordan Howards. Keep them and use that run, because then you can get the play action over the top throws. Cordell Patterson's fast. He's got decent hands. Taylor Gabriel, same thing. He's fast. He's got good hands. If you use the run game to open them up into play action, then it's a different system. But you gotta find out what works best with what you have.
That's fair. On the track of who do they have around them and young quarterbacks, I think, some people don't, that Dwayne Haskins is going to be the franchise quarterback for the Redskins. I don't know if I can consciously say he's going to be a top 10 quarterback, but I think he's our franchise. I think he's going to be our quarterback for the next 10 years. The receivers around him, starting with Jordan Reed being out, that's not new, but didn't have a tight end.
Yeah.
Terry McLaurin, third-round pick, he balled out, but third-round pick is not exactly a good start, and that's the highest drafted pick because Kelvin Harmon's a sixth-rounder. Trey Quinn was Mr. Irrelevant, last pick in the draft. Steven Sims was undrafted from Kansas. He made the team off his electric return skills, and he ended up turning into a good receiver. He's developed as a route runner. He's looking good, but Dwayne Haskins wasn't looking too bad with, 3 rookies, the highest being a third-round pick, and a second-year last pick in the draft, no tight end. Donald Penn playing left tackle with Eric Flowers at left guard. Like
Eric Flowers.
Yeah. If Trent Williams comes back, if we could draft a serviceable left guard, if Roulier at center, Scherf at right guard, and Morgan Moses at right tackle, if they can all stay healthy, if we can get a serviceable left guard, a serviceable tight end,
bum ass,
a serviceable tight end,
just like the Giants did. They had enough of his nonsense. Like, dude, I just to interrupt you, I'm on this, since I'm a Giants fan, I'm on this one fan page, bro, and literally the entire season they were like, Eric Flowers needs to go. Every single game they would just rip him apart, where is he? Why is he on this team? Get him out of here. And then they finally got rid of him, and now, oh, dude, so many less notifications. It's great.
Everyone thought it was the apocalypse when the Redskins signed him. They moved him to left guard instead of tackle. He didn't do too bad, but he's a Band-Aid. He's not a long-term fix. He's literally
that
better.
Band-Aid that just keeps peeling up that you just can't get to stay down,
Exactly.
It's the same thing with Marshall Newhouse this year too, because we had Isaiah Wynn out.
It's just a Band-Aid replacement.
Yeah, it's like a Band-Aid that you put over in water and it just keeps sliding off because it's soaking wet and it just won't stick.
It won't block the blood from coming out.
Just a used bandage.
So I think the Redskins are about 2 serviceable players on offense away from having a serviceable offense. I think Haskins is the answer. I love Darius Geis, but I'm scared that his career is going to be over because he can't stay healthy.
Facts.
Defense is looking good. The front 7 is filthy. We're getting Chase Young, 2nd overall. Moving to 4-3 was needed to be done. We really just need to get rid of Norman. We need to replace him and get one other good corner and develop Monte Nicholson's single high safety skills so Landon Collins can play his position in the box. And with the new culture, new coaching, everything, the Redskins, I don't want to get my hopes up because I'm always heartbroken, but they could be decent for once.
I think they actually will be pretty decent coming up, especially after they get Chase Young, because that dude is a monster.
Animal. He's from Maryland, too. So.
Absolute stud.
Another young quarterback. I think Drew Lock is going to be the truth. He looked good in his few games that he had to start because he broke his thumb in preseason. He has that almost like the edge of Gardner Minshew or Baker Mayfield, but he kind of has his own individuality, swag to him. I don't know if you saw the video of him rapping on the sideline to himself.
Yeah.
everyone's like, you're invited to the cookout. But I
Yeah.
think the Broncos and the Redskins are both trending up a lot. The teams that have struggled for the past couple of years, they're both trending up. Um, I'm curious to see what the Eagles are going to do. Curious to see what the Cowboys are going to do. Because is Dak the answer? He played well this year.
I don't think so.
I haven't seen any proof that Dak is the answer yet.
No, not in my opinion.
He had a really good 13-3 rookie season, but he also had Zeke running for like 1,500 yards.
Yeah,
And
Zeke
he,
went off.
well, I don't know, man. He's got Amari Cooper and Randall Cobb, so you should have a highly rated passing offense, but you still can't win big games. You can't win easy games either.
If I'm the Eagles, I'm almost considering going out and getting a Teddy Bridgewater or another fringe starter, or even taking a quarterback in like the second round, third round, because Carson Wentz is fragile. It's
You can't
it's
stay healthy.
it's a lot of it's just bad luck, wrong place, wrong time. But at some point, you got to have a safety blanket. Similar to when the Redskins had RG3 and they drafted Kirk Cousins in fourth or fifth round.
And now
They
look
had
what
the
the
safety
Ravens
blanket.
do with RG3. They just throw him in whenever they want.
Yeah.
They have him run the ball.
Talk about young quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson led the league in passing
boy.
touchdowns. Led
That
the league in
man
passing
helped me win
touchdowns.
my fantasy league this year. I
Man, I don't
acquired
even
him
wanna-
mid-season and somehow won my fantasy league.
If that man doesn't win a Super Bowl this year, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
That man
That-
led the league in passing touchdowns and broke Michael Vick's rushing record.
Hell yeah.
That's unheard of. And I love his personality. I love that he's quick and to the point. There's no extravagant. Mark Ingram is the one that's like, see me outside the bank if you don't think he's
Oh,
MVP.
yeah.
Don't score him. Lamar Jackson, he's work, head down. He leaves it all on the field. He lets his play do the talking. In the interviews, he's just like, they're like, are you going to have room for all those trophies? He was like, my Heisman's still in the box. I'm trying to win a Super Bowl before I start thinking about individual trophies. Like, that's the guy you want.
Yeah, that's the quarterback. I mean, honestly, the way he carries himself reminds me of a young Peyton Manning, young Tom Brady, young Drew Brees. They're all business all the time.
Yep.
And that's the difference between Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield too.
Yep.
Same draft class, but what did Lamar do in the offseason? Worked out every single day, hard as hell.
He was not
Got his
not-
arm strength up.
not in any commercials.
No commercials, and Baker Mayfield had like 800 commercials, bro. I swear, every game, at least 10 times a game, I'd see Baker Mayfield on a new commercial. I'm like, dude, this is why you guys suck, because you don't focus on football. Because the offseason isn't time to just dick around. The offseason is time for you to get better and prepare yourself for the next season.
Yeah, Lamar is a big team guy, which we are
Big.
also.
Big team guy.
Big
Huge team guy.
So, future outlook for the playoffs. I don't think, barring any craziness, I don't think anyone's beating the Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to the bowl.
I think my ultimate prediction for the end is going to be Ravens 49ers, and Ravens take the dub.
Yep,
I fully agree with that.
I could back that.
Because if the Vikings go into San Francisco and win, that would be a monumental collapse. I could see the Texans walking into Arrowhead and winning, because the Chiefs are so up and down. You never know what they're going to do. Titans, Ravens are going to the bowl. It's not even a contest. And I think the Seahawks beat the Packers, and the 49ers beat the winner of that game.
So I guess now let's head into our. So it's 2020 now. We did our version of all-decade teams for the major sports. I'm very happy with mine.
I'm very happy with mine.
Also, this should be the time to tell everyone where the name the Janitors came from, since it's hockey related. Our NHL EASHL team named it the Janitors because when everybody's these small, fast guys, we're getting the greasy goals, pucks in deep, pucks on net, cleanup crew. That's where the Janitors was born. And we figured we should roll with that for the name for our podcast. Anyway,
Very fitting name.
let's get into our all-decade teams. starting with the NHL. Um, I guess I'll go first, boys.
All
Go
right.
for it.
Uh, my left wing, starting with that, Alexander Ovechkin. I think the forwards are going to be pretty much unanimous. Ovi had 413 goals, 307 assists in this decade. He had 80 more goals than second place. Uh, he won a Stanley Cup, a Conn Smythe playoff MVP, Hart Trophy, 6 Rocket Richard trophies for leading in goals. Uh, it's far fetched, but if anyone ever is gonna catch Gretzky, he has the best shot to do it. He's got to average 30 or 40 goals a year for the next 6 or 7 years, but there's no sign of him slowing down.
I don't see him slowing down.
No.
At center, I got Sidney Crosby.
Ooh.
Ooh.
268 goals,
I don't know
459 assists, 2 cups, 2 Ted Lindsays, an Art Ross, a Hart Trophy, a Rocky Richard Trophy, 2 Conn Smythe trophies. I think for this decade, he has to be the best center in my opinion. At right wing, got Patrick Kane, 300 goals, 455 assists. He had the most points this decade, and fourth in goals, fourth in assists, 3 cups, a Conn Smythe, an Art Ross, a Hart, and a Ted Lindsay trophy. So all 3 of the forwards, they got a lot of hardware. They got a lot of trophies to show for their play. So you guys want to do your forwards?
I'll go with my forwards now. All right, so what I have for my left wing, Ovi, of course, standard. I'm not even going to get into it. Matt already got into it. My right wing, Patty Kane. Fucking nasty. Disgusting. Can't go wrong there.
Silky bits.
The only change up to Matt's front 3 is I have Patrice Bergeron.
I knew it. I knew it.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Wait. You got to listen to the stats, though.
I knew it.
Let me hear
He's
it.
got 4 Selkies. Since the 2009-2010 season, he is plus 206. Plus 206. The only person that's ahead of him is one of my defensemen, and I'll get into that later. Undeniably, the best two-way forward in the entire National Hockey League.
The Selkies prove it.
So I think the way that I looked at this is I already have Alex Ovechkin and Patty Kane. So what do I need more scoring for? Patrice Bergeron can dish the puck and, whatever. He was also a King Clancy winner, which is the undeniable leadership award. He has a career 58.2 faceoff percentage, 614 career hits, 574 career takeaways, 312 giveaways in 1,059 games total. So he takes the puck a whole lot more than he gives it up.
Those are all fair points.
Off to you, IT.
Terry, you want to go for it?
All right. So, I think. All right. Let me get into this one. So obviously, I think we all know left wing is gonna be the man who has an office space on the ice.
Big facts.
Not only did I actually have an autograph from him because fun story. I went to a Caps game. And they had this mystery puck night where you could get $40 and pick up a puck off the table. And then you flip it upside down and it has a number. And whatever number is whatever person you get is inside the little thing. So I flip it over. I'm like, oh, damn, that's an 8. And I open it up. It's Ovechkin's autograph. And my friend got some random person who just got called up. And he's he went to all of the Stanley Cup playoff games. He's a huge fan. And I was like, oh, it looks like I'm walking home with a $300 item. And I was so excited. So, yeah. So, Alex Ovechkin. And then on my right wing, I also have Patty Kane as well. I think we all agree that he just gets the job done. He's a big team player. Let me look at this. He has 457 assists in 10 years. So, that's pretty incredible.
That's 45.7 assists a year. That's pretty damn good. Not a big deal.
His PIMs are low, too, which is pretty interesting. So I was kind of a little on the bar with that one because I'm a big PIM guy. So, the fact that he only had 256 PIMs kind of lowered him on my list. But
you want to put Revo right wing?
But,
Ryan Reeves
right,
up
so
there.
this is where I'm different from both of you guys.
Oh,
I chose to pick Steven Stamkos as the center.
Fair.
Just
Okay.
because
I'll allow that.
every year just the Lightning just tear up the Devils, and just I always just notice this man just I don't know what it is. Every time we play them, he just takes it to town and just destroys us. Even when we had Marty, like back in the day, just still would just pound us.
If I'm not mistaken, he's second behind Ovi in goals this decade.
Yeah,
Correct. You are correct.
Yeah. He's got damn 334. So yeah, that's why he's my center. So we'll have Matt, start talking about the defense now.
Defense, my favorite position.
This is gonna be interesting.
Yeah, this is
very
what I'm
interesting
looking
to see
forward to,
this.
'cause I think all of ours are going to be different.
Start number 1D, EK65, Erik Karlsson.
Oh no.
Damn.
He has 2 Norrises, only repeat Norris winner this decade, 565 points, leads all defensemen, 21st overall, 437 assists, leads all defensemen, 6th out of all positions, 128 goals. He's only behind Brett Burns and Shea Weber as a defenseman. He had a down year. His first year with the Sharks, I think, was kind of down. He got paid this offseason, and when that was my first thought, what other defensemen besides him, but like straight just offensive defensemen? I don't think there's another one that matched it. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. So I have 2 written down because I could not decide. Who my second defenseman is going to be. I have 2 written down. I'm just going to say both of them, if that's cool. Because I had an offensive defenseman. So I was trying to think of a more well-rounded defenseman. So my first thought was Victor Hedman.
Okay.
Maybe not everyone's first pick, but won the Norris. 99 goals, that's 12th out of defenseman. 336 assists, that's 8th out of defenseman. And then 6th out of all defensemen in points. When I thought of right now the most dominant defensive defenseman, Victor Hedman was my number 1 pick. My other pick was another offensive defenseman, so I kind of steered away from him. Brett Burns. Brett Burns, the shoot for the deflection master. He won the Norris too. He's second for defenseman in goals and points and 4th in assists. So he's another just straight offensive. But I'm curious to see what you guys have to say.
All right, well, I'll jump right into mine then. All right, we're going back to Boston for my number 1 defenseman, Mr. Big Z Zdeno Chara. This man, in 10 years, 760 games played, doesn't miss a lot of games, big team guy. 1,392 hits, 1,103 blocks, 281 takeaways, with a grand total of 336 points. And to top off the icing on the proverbial cake, he's got a plus 215 in the decade. Man does not give up goals on the defensive side. And then for my second defenseman, I'm going to go with Duncan Keith. 3-time Cup winner, 3-time All-Star, 2-time Norris winner, insanely strong defender. This man enables so much offense off the rush, and he's a shutdown defenseman in the defensive zone as well. And he's also got a career of plus 155. So both of my D are very well-rounded, more so on the defensive side.
I like those. IT, what's up?
All right, so let me lay it out on the line for you, fellas. All right. My first one is EK, Erik Karlsson.
Ooh, I like
For
that.
the specific reason of that there was a slim chance that the Devils were going to sign him a few years ago. And the only reason was because there were so many articles, and I really thought Ray Shero was going to pull the plug somehow, but he didn't. Ended up going to the Sharks. I just think he's an overall really good player. His stats are just, up there. He has a nice clapper, which we love, I wish that I could play in front of the net and just get some nice deflections from that guy. That's another reason why. It's because I know he'd hook me up so well, bro. I know it. Like, I can just picture it now, like ding off the post, with bar down ski, like. But yeah, so that's my first one, and then I'm gonna throw this one out there because like I think Dustin Buffalin's up there
Oh,
because
about physicality.
Big buff, big buff.
yeah, but like I don't think he played. He didn't play this year at all, right?
He hasn't played at all this year.
Yeah,
He's
so
been
that's technically not the. Well, it is technically the.
he's been on a holdout. He's been a holdout year.
I think it's still fair to argue
Yeah,
that
it's still
he's
fair because
the physical presence alone.
Oh yeah,
so
big body.
I just think he adds like the physicality which a lot of teams like the Devils don't have on defense. And if I wanted him on my team because I need that guy who's gonna like stay at home and is not afraid to knock somebody down, stop the play because we don't have anything like that on the Devils. So it's nice. That's why I think he would be a solid team player, and that's what I'm all about, and that's what my team's all about. I think
Big team
him and Erik
guys.
Karlsson would just they'd have some chemistry together and really work it out.
So I had the most trouble with goalies.
I had a tough time with tendies.
So I wrote a list. I narrowed it down to 4. I had my final 4. And then I narrowed it down to 2. My final 2, I'll give you who I picked first. I went with Tuukka Rask.
Nice. I can see it.
It was between him and Fleury, Marc-Andre Fleury. But I started thinking, who do I want in net in Game 7 of a series? So I did some research. So Rask has a Vezina. He won a cup. Marc-Andre Fleury has no Vezinas, but obviously he won a couple cups. The difference that set Rask apart, in my opinion. So regular season, Tuukka has a .920 save percentage, .231 goals against, which is both second in the decade. In the playoffs, he goes from a .920 to a .927, and goals against from a .231 to a .219. My man elevates his gameplay by like 10% when the playoffs come. And I compared that to Fleury, who goes from a .917 save percentage down to a .911, and from a .242 goals against to a .259. So Rask elevates his play from regular season to postseason by about 10%. And Fleury, obviously, he's one of the best to ever do it. But that's what set Rask apart for me to make him my all-decade goalie.
Oh yeah,
I fuck with that.
that's nice.
All right.
Nicely done.
I'm going to come off the top with a good old American boy. My goalie pick for the all-decade team is Jonathan Quick.
Ooh, I knew it.
Love it. Love it.
A two-time Cup winner, the 11-12 Conn Smythe winner, a 2 times Jennings Award winner, which is a minimum of 25 games played with the fewest goals allowed. And he has, in the last decade, a 2.38 goals against and a .913 save percentage in the decade. It's not bad. Not bad at all.
I like that pick a lot. Love the American-born boys.
And he's also proved that he can come up very clutch in big games.
Oh, yeah, like when he beat the Rangers. R.I.P.
Yep.
He played out of his dome that whole playoffs.
Because historically the Kings haven't had very strong rosters, but that goaltending is really what got them those 2 cups, in my opinion.
It's actually funny you bring up Jonathan Quick. I watched Miracle the other day, of course, like my weekly Miracle watch. But that made me want to watch the TJ Oshie USA Shootout.
Oh,
so
beauty.
That year, Jonathan Quick played the regular workload for regular season tendy, and then he played in the Olympics. And then he played to 7 games in the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
That man played all the hockey.
All of the puck that season.
He played so much puck that season. Good choice. I like that. IT, who you got in net? If I take a wild guess.
No, it's not who you think it's gonna be. It's not the legend, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Marty Brodeur. Because
he retired earlier.
Yeah, he retired early. And to be fair, he wasn't playing his best after that 2012 Stanley. After that then he went to the Blues. All-time favorite Blues legend Marty Brodeur. But no, my actual pick is Carey Price
That's fair.
Okay, I can get down
because
with that.
um, I think next to Marty, he's probably one of the best in the NHL in my lifetime. So, although I've been watching hockey, he in the last decade he has been the leading candidate. I think like 5 times, or no, 4 times it was, and it 4 times in the top 5 of the Vezina voting, and he won it in what was it 2014 season, 2014-15 season.
Overchild the quick who was
Yeah,
playing that
yeah,
as well.
that's yeah,
Facts.
yeah. So I mean, well, that was a good season too, though. 2014, not for the Devils, but whatever. Yeah, he was really good. So, and I think he also won the MVP, the Hart, once in this decade. So
I think you're right.
that's why if I can recall, he has some hardware. So not enough hardware though, but he's there. He'll get there,
Yeah,
maybe.
he needs a
They
cup,
did
but he's
just
not going to
sign.
win on the Canadians.
They did just sign legend Ilya Kovalchuk, former Devil legend who signed a 17-year contract and then
Boo.
was
To
like,
a
peace.
two-way.
Yeah,
Boo, you're
league
trash. Yeah,
minimum. Yeah,
guy's
that dude
garbage.
sucks.
He's so old. He needs to go back to like, the KHL. And he wasn't even that good in the KHL when he
No, he was injured
retired
half the
the first
time
time.
anyway.
He was trash.
Yeah. So so
He
I'm
hasn't
Uh,
been
picking
good
Carey
since
Price.
the.
I think it's a good pick.
I'm down with
Uh,
that.
moving on to NBA all-decade teams. I had a little bit of trouble with this one just because there's so many. NBA is the biggest individual sport, so it's kind of hard just to compare like just the talent that the NBA has had at each position.
I don't even
Um,
touch this, just so you guys are aware. I'm not even in on this one because I
okay,
started to look at it and I'm like, yeah, I don't know enough about basketball to actually care about this. So,
did you make an NBA one or
I
no?
have a few people, so I think I got an
I
idea.
mean,
I'll piggyback
I'll
off of you.
I'll make the NBA one quick though.
I know who my
So
sixth man is, and I think we could all agree on this.
not Jamal,
Lou
No,
not Jamal Crawford. I knew you were gonna say
Jamal
Jamal Crawford.
Crawford.
Um, so I'll go through the NBA quick since you guys haven't done it. Um, Point guard Steph Curry,
Yeah,
best
that's who
shooter
I am. That's who I am.
of our lives. He has all the awards, 3 MVPs. He's all NBA every single year.
6 All-Star
Um,
appearances.
Shooting guard got Klay Thompson,
of
best
course.
two-way player. Might be the best two-way player ever when it's all said and done between his shooting and defense. Obviously, he's overshadowed by Curry shooting-wise, but um, he's a 42% three-point shooter, averages almost 20 a game, and plays absolute straps defense. At the three, small forward, obviously LeBron. I don't think there's really much.
Nowhere to argue that.
No, no, I don't even have to list the stats because I had to shorten them because there's a whole page.
Yeah.
Um, Power forward, I got Anthony Davis, uh, three-time first-team All NBA, one-time first-team All Defense, two-time second-team All Defense, led the league in blocks 3 times, uh, 24 points per game, which is first for forwards and centers, 2.4 blocks per game, which is first, and second in rebounds per game at 10.5, behind my center, DeAndre Jordan. Uh, One of the best rebounders to ever do it. Uh, 12.3 rebounds a game, tied for fourth in blocks per game. He's currently the NBA record holder for field goal percentage in his career. He's a 67.3% from the field
That's
player.
crazy.
Um, and my sixth man, Lou Williams.
Ooh, Lou Will.
Yeah, no, it's close. It's close.
I'd also like to point out that Clay may get overshadowed, but he still owns the single game record for threes in a game with 14.
14.
It's
I broke that on
interesting.
my 2K.
It's interesting. You
I
don't
broke
have
that in
Dwayne
2K
Wade.
like 7 times.
You don't have Dwayne Wade anywhere up there. Interesting.
Dwayne Wade.
I have him on my list.
I thought about him, but I just think Clay has to take the cake. Dwayne Wade is one of the goats too, but I think for
You just gotta think the decade though, like
yeah that
the
if it
early
was
2010s.
if I was saying like yeah if it was from like 2006 to now you probably have to go with Dwayne Wade. But since it's 2010 and now, I went with Clay.
Yeah.
I think we got to get into NFL decade teams now.
NFL time.
Yeah.
So quarterback, 1, 2, 3, Tom Brady.
Oh yeah, Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
No question there.
No.
Running back.
Sucks to say, but it's all right.
Running back. This was the hardest position for me.
I had a tough time with this one too.
I went with Adrian Peterson. Second place, Shady McCoy.
Nope.
Oh really?
Yes.
Ooh, I want to hear why that.
So AP, 2-time first team All Pro, 2-time second team All Pro, MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, 2-time rushing yard leader, touchdown leader, 9,732 yards, which is third this decade. Shady's first. That's why LaShawn McCoy was really close in my mind. Adrian Peterson has the most touchdowns this decade, and 82.5 yards a game, which is third. Also, can't forget the 2,000-yard season after coming off the torn ACL, which is the second most in a season ever. What do you guys have for running backs?
I had Frank Gore actually.
I love it.
2,380 rushing attempts, 9,786 yards, 244 receptions for 2,065 yards, 58 total TDs, 4.1 yards per carry. So he averaged over 1,000 yards from scrimmage a season. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler. So that was my pick for running back.
I like that. Workhorse.
Oh, yeah. Absolute grinder.
IT, who do you have?
I have the same as you. I have Adrian Peterson, just for the simple reason that dude just dominated like every season and still never got anywhere. Like just the fact that he would just destroy the season, and they couldn't. It's embarrassing. It's sad. It's sad. You feel bad for someone like that. They put the team on their back because we're big team players. We know about that. Just can't get it done.
Big team guys.
Unlike them, we get it done. You know how it is. You know the vibe.
Yeah, I was close to picking LaShawn McCoy, but
For what reason?
So he had the most rushing yards this decade.
Oh.
Just when I'm going back in my mind and I think of 14-year-old me. If there was a third one, I was gonna go Jamal Charles too.
Oh,
Jamal Charles.
Dude, I forgot about Jamal Charles.
I was thinking Marshawn, to be honest with you.
Marshawn too.
He carried the Seahawks to those Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Jamal Charles actually led the decade in yards per carry, which is crazy. I think it was 6 yards a carry, something absurd.
Oh my,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Another man too never got anywhere either. It's unfortunate.
Injuries killed him.
Yeah.
For receivers, I have Julio Jones and Larry Fitzgerald.
Ooh.
Solid.
No, I don't have Larry.
So
I definitely
Julio,
have
Julio, 2-time first team All Pro, 2-time second team, led the league in receiving yards twice. He has 797 catches. That's third this decade. 12,125 yards. That's first this decade. 57 touchdowns. That's ninth. There was that one year where he had that weird year where he kept getting tackled at the one. I think it was a year or two ago. So he should be higher in touchdowns.
It was 2018 because it was the year after they lost the Super Bowl.
Right. 96.2 yards a game. That's first. Larry Legend, Fitzgerald, even though he promotes University of Phoenix, which is garbage, but 855 catches. That's first this decade. 10,016 yards. That's third. 61 touchdowns. That's seventh. My favorite stat, just pure reliability. He has more tackles in his career than drops. He has more tackles than passes dropped in his career.
Damn,
that means his quarterbacks or teammates have turned it over, and he has made the tackle more than he has dropped the ball, and he has 855 receptions. But yeah, I want to hear what you guys have to say about the receivers.
So I actually agree with you on Julio Jones. I had him as my number one as well. I actually had this little tidbit that it just goes to show that the Browns are a flawed organization. So April 28th, 2011, Julio Jones was traded by the Browns as the 2011 first-round pick, 6th overall to the Falcons. For the first round, 26th overall pick, which turned into Jonathan Baldwin, who's that? 2011 second-round pick, 59th overall, Greg Little, who's that? 2011 fourth-round pick, 118th overall, Jaleel Brown, who's that? Fourth round pick, 124th overall, Owen Marichich. Don't know who that is. Not a clue. And the 2012 first round pick, 22nd overall, Brandon Whedon. Julio could have single-handedly changed the history of the Browns. Instead of all those, 5 or 6 people that he was traded for, and they all turned out to be busts. And for my number 2 receiver, I have AB, my man's, even though he's got some issues off the field right now. He's number 2 among active players in receiving touchdowns with 75. Number 4 in receiving yards with 11,263. He's been a 7-time Pro Bowler, and he's a 4-time first-team All-Pro.
That's a very fair point. One of the best route runners of the decade, too.
He's incredible. He's not a burner, but he'll just break you down on routes and just run right by you.
IT, what do you got?
All right, so I have, similar first one, Got Calvin Johnson.
Oh, I like that.
That's a bold pick. Nice.
Yeah. I just, I think he only played, 2015 was his last season?
He retired early.
Yeah. But he just put up numbers, his yards, I think his highest was 1,900.
Absolutely dominant.
Receptions. That was in 2012. That's just, I have him really high up there for multiple reasons, but that's because I just had him in fantasy and he helped me out. So that's what I like. I like a team player. So, I have to give him some credit. And then Randy Moss.
Randy Moss.
Yeah.
I think wasn't he already retired by 2010?
Oh, yeah, shit.
IT was probably high as fuck when he made that pick.
I was like,
he was fucking smacked.
I did all. You know what? I made my football list all time. That's why I also have Calvin Johnson. My bad. Sorry, everybody. I'll readjust for the next one. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious to see who your tight end is. If it's all time, Dick Butkus, or no, he's a linebacker. I think Mike Ditka was a tight end.
Oh my god!
No, I did someone similar. I think I just 2000s to 2000. I don't know what I did.
For a tight end, Gronk. I think it's got to be.
You gotta have Gronk.
Oh, yeah.
If it's not Gronk, the only other person I could see it going to is maybe Antonio Gates.
Ooh.
Yeah,
because he just won't retire. He's been playing in the league forever.
You look at Gronk's stats: 3 rings,
insane,
4-time first-team All-Pro.
Yep.
Receiving touchdown leader, comeback player of the year. So he's 5th in receptions, 2nd in yards, 1st in touchdowns with 79, 1st in yards per game. So he's 5th, 2nd, 1st in the main categories. And he has 38 games less played than Jimmy Graham, who's right behind him in all those. He did all that through the injury in 38 less games. He had 79 touchdowns, more than Jimmy Graham. Not 79 touchdowns more than Jimmy Graham for 79 touchdowns. So, Phil, I'm assuming you have Gronk too?
I also have Gronk.
Yeah.
I would like to, where's the stat? I had his total number of drops, and I don't think it was very many. His catch percentage for his career, which was only up until last year, so it's 9 seasons. He had a 65.6 catch percentage, and that's including all targets, including uncatchable and catchable balls. I can't find the drops. I had it written down somewhere, but I think it was under 30.
That's absurd.
That's insane. Let's see.
Who'd you have for tight end?
Well, I changed it now because that embarrassed my ass again. I have Gronk, classic. And then
Hard to go away from.
It was a tie between Witten and Jimmy Graham, but not Jimmy Graham now,
Jimmy Graham a couple years ago.
Yeah.
You could argue Jason Witten too. He's
just consecutive
If you wanted a first down on 3rd and 3, that's a good. Jason Witten's the target.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gain of 3.5, 4 yards. That's your guy.
So for offensive line, not as many awards. They're the unsung heroes.
Yeah, I didn't
But
even go with stats for them. I just went
yeah,
for the offensive line. I just straight up did names.
I did for tackles. I had Joe Thomas and Trent Williams. Absolutely dominant, both of them. Guards, Zach Martin and Marshall Yanda.
Shit, same.
And Jason Kelsey at center.
Oh, I differed there. For my tackles, I had Jason Peters from the Eagles, Joe Thomas for the Browns, Zach Martin, Cowboys, Marshall Yanda for the Guards, and then center I had Alex Mack from the Falcons.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a good one. Did you do offensive line?
IT did not do offensive line.
I did a 3-4 defense just because that's the people I wanted to put on it if it's a 3-4 defense. So I have Aaron Donald at defensive tackle.
Yep.
Defensive ends, J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones. Both had 96 sacks this decade. Granted,
Wow.
J.J. Watt was hurt more. Outside linebackers, Ryan Kerrigan and Von Miller. They're 1 and 2 in sacks for outside linebackers. Middle linebackers, Luke Kuechly and Bobby Wagner.
All right.
So go ahead and do your front seven, Phil.
I was in a 4-3, so I had Aaron Donald and Geno Atkins at defensive tackle.
Like that.
I had Von Miller and Khalil Mack on the edge, and then I had I had J.J. Watt and Von Miller on the edge. I had Khalil at the outside linebacker spot with Luke Kuechly and Bobby Wagner at the two inside backers.
I like that. IT, what do you got?
I didn't do any of that.
Oh, okay.
He just did the
told
offense.
you, I just did
Just did the offense stuff. Yeah.
I was busy
So
preparing this podcast.
I have a feeling our secondaries are going to be very similar.
For corners, I have Richard Sherman and Patrick Peterson.
Okay.
Safeties, Earl Thomas and Devin McCourty.
Oh, that's a solid pick.
Ooh, yeah.
What do you got?
I had Darrell Revis and Richard Sherman at corner.
Solid.
And then I had Earl Thomas and Eric Berry as my safeties.
I like that. I like Eric Berry.
Eric Berry, 3-time
Nice.
All-Pro, 2015 Comeback Player of the Year, selected to be in 5 Pro Bowls. He, over his career, which was, I think it was 2010 when he started, 4 forced fumbles, 14 picks, and 5 of those 14 picks were pick sixes.
Jeez.
So about 33% of his picks were returned for touchdowns.
So I don't know if you do the same. I did kicker, punter, and a returner.
I just did kicker punter, but I can have a returner off the top of my head.
So I did Justin Tucker as a kicker. I don't think that's much of a surprise.
Yep.
And Johnny Hecker as punter.
Same.
And I did Cordero Patterson as a returner.
So actually, he was the first name that came to mind, but I'm going to go in a different direction. I'm going to go with Devin Hester.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
So I came up with stats to support my case.
I didn't even do that one, so I just, off the top of my head, who I wanted.
Okay, now I can't find it.
Classic.
Deep in
Classic.
the content notebook.
Yeah, he's going to go balls deep in his notebook real quick.
Oh, here it is. So, because I said, who are the top two? Devin Hester, Cordero Patterson. I would think Devin Hester would be the one. But here's why Cordero Patterson's better. Devin Hester had 295 kick returns. Cordero Patterson had 204. So Devin Hester had 81 more. Cordero Patterson has 2 more return touchdowns on 81 less kicks.
Wow.
On top of that, Patterson averages 29.9 yards per return, and that's with the kickoff being moved up. That's with the new touchback rule, everything.
Wow.
Hester 24.9. So Cordero Patterson has 2 more touchdowns on 81 less kicks and has 5 yards per return more than Hester.
Fair enough.
Which is crazy. Devin Hester was the GOAT. Also, if we're going punt returner, absolutely Devin Hester, because Cordero Patterson just returns kicks. He doesn't return punts. So I'm assuming I'm the only one to the MLB All-Decade team. I'll go through that real quick.
Cool, dude. Yeah, run it.
Catcher, Yadier Molina. Has to be when it's all said and done, he'll be the best fielding catcher of all time. Similar to Tuukka Rask, Yadi is a 282 regular season batting average. In the World Series, it goes from 282 to 328. So he literally just elevates his play. First base, I have Joey Votto. Led the league in on-base percentage 7 times. He won an MVP, a Gold Glove. He has one of the highest wins above replacements with 52. Second base, I got Robinson Cano. One of the best hitting second basemen to ever do it. Beautiful swing, obviously. Shortstop, third base, Nolan Arenado. Might be the best fielder of all time. 7 Gold Gloves in 8 years.
That's
Three-time platinum field, best fielder in the league. 4 Silver Sluggers. From 2015 to now, he's never finished lower than 8th in MVP. Led the league in home runs 3 times, RBIs twice. There's just no one I'd rather have. Anthony Rendon is one of my favorite players, and I still pick Arenado over him. Francisco Lindor at shortstop. Absurd power for shortstop. Averages 29 home runs. If you average it over 162 game season. 2 Gold Gloves, 2 Silver Sluggers. Rookie of the Year runner-up. Outfield, Mike Trout. Best player. When it's all said and done, he will be the best player ever. This is my favorite stat. His MVP finishes second, first, fourth, because he only played 113 games. Second and first. So again, second, first, fourth, first. That's his MVP finishes.
That's crazy.
Basically, the LeBron James of baseball. It needs to be. Basketball needs to change it to most valuable player besides LeBron. Baseball should be most valuable player besides Mike Trout, because there's no question it's valuable. After that, I got Giancarlo Stanton, hit 308 home runs this decade, 785 RBIs, just absurd power. Might be for my last outfield spot. Might be a little different than some people would think. I went Andrew McCutchen. He won 1 MVP. He also came in 3rd twice and 5th. Gold Glove, 4 Silver Sluggers, 221 home runs this decade, 286 average. Led the league in hits, on-base percentage, OPS. He's one of the most under the radar because he's always overshadowed by Trout, Stanton, Aaron Judge, the big names like that. But I would pick Andrew McCutchen. Starting pitcher, I went Max Scherzer. Might be a little bit of a homer, but I always have stats to back up what I say. Back-to-back Cy Youngs. He won 3 total this decade. Similar to Mike Trout, Max Scherzer's Cy Young finishes are 1st, 5th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. So he's never below top. He's never
consistent.
Been outside the top 5 since he signed with the Nats. He's led the league in wins 4 times, innings pitched twice, strikeouts 3 times. And now you might say Clayton Kershaw is the best pitcher of this decade, but I always use playoffs if you're going to put your big boy pants on and get the job done. Clayton Kershaw just might be one of the biggest choke artists in all of sports. From going from regular season to be so dominant to just choking in the playoffs. Against the Nats this year, gave up back-to-back home runs. He came in for relief, gave up back-to-back home runs. Nats going to win. Yeah, he has a 7.11 ERA in the NLDS, a 5.40 ERA in his World Series games. So his home runs per 9 innings, regular season is 0.7. In the World Series, it's 1.7. Scherzer, home runs per 9, in regular season is 1.0. In the playoffs, 1.0. His ERA also goes from a 3.86 to a 3.38. So Max Scherzer is another one that elevates when the time comes. Relief pitcher, Craig Kimbrell, top 10 in saves, 7 out of 10 times this decade. Led 4 years in a row in saves. Won Rookie of the Year, 3-time Reliever of the Year. Averaged 42 saves per 162 games. and he finished top 10 in the Cy Young 5 times, which as a reliever is pretty crazy. I don't believe in DHs. I think pitchers should hit, so I didn't do a DH. But
I mean,
think
it'd be David Ortiz. Come on, you can't even argue that.
That's fair. You can go with
Big
that.
Big Poppy. But you can also play first base too, if you need him to.
So like in my other sports, my fringe player, I had fringe players and other things. Adrian Beltre, I think he's almost at 500 home runs. He's goofy. He's one of those guys that always gets the job done, but he can mess around, but he also backs it up big time. So that about wraps up our all-decade teams. I think we did a good job there. Except
I think
for
that's
IT
pretty good to
picking.
wrap it up.
IT's
We're
gonna come
sitting at
prepared
about
more for the next podcast. Don't worry.
yeah.
IT's
I think
got
that's actually pretty good to wrap up now.
Wrap up
We're
the
sitting-
first episode of the pod.
Sounds like a play to me.
I was gonna go through some sports news.
I mean, we could. We're just in an hour and 20 right now, so.
Yeah. Well,
I guess that about does it for episode 1 of the Janitors podcast. We're obviously brand new. We're looking to grow. Even like IT said, even if a group of just 10 dudes religiously listens to us, we'll be happy.
hey, that's all we need.
But we'll put our links to our Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. You'll see us aside from podcasting. You'll also see us playing video games. We're not very good at them, but it's fun to watch. We're a multifaceted podcast.
Oh yeah.
In future episodes, this is our first. In future episodes, we'll go over more news, and we don't just talk about sports. Real quick, I had some news on the outdoorsman front. There is some important legislation that's going up the chain that's going to they're shooting to make hunting on public lands, accessing public lands in general, even if you're not hunting, all that more accessible. The goal is to get more people to go outside. As technology is evolving, less people are going outside. But keep an eye on that. Outdoors is a big part of my life. So, also shout out U18 women won the World Junior Gold for women's.
Oh yeah.
Golden goal in OT. The filthy Phil front forehand, backhand, top cheese.
Top cheese for days, my guy. Get that going.
Also, final note, David Stern passing.
R.I.P.
The NBA would absolutely not be where it's at without David Stern.
Nope. No.
100% not. It went from like a mom and pop operation almost to like a global brand. Like people all over the world are watching basketball. In his time as commish, they went from 23 teams to 30. The players' pay went way up. The revenue went way up. Obviously, commissioners are always the bad guy, but I don't think absolutely the NBA wouldn't be anywhere near where it's at without David Stern.
I think when it comes to sports too, the NBA is probably the biggest market when it comes to the entire world.
Oh yeah, they have the when they have the Jersey night, the Los Lakers or like Los.
Yeah.
And then they also have the Chinese one too.
Yep.
For like Asian heritage or something. I think that's really cool. Yeah. But I think we're forgetting about something here, Matt.
What's that?
About the fourth member of our team here.
Oh,
we forgot to
D-Money,
mention.
Dirtiest Dan. He can't be with us today. He's way out of town, but he will absolutely be on the pod. He's the most knowledgeable on basketball out of all of us. I'd say me, IT, and Phil are mainly hockey and football.
Yeah.
I watch everything.
Yeah, big hockey guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, so look out for more sports news to come.
Some special guests.
Some special guests maybe. We got some things in the pipeline.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yeah.
Just a phone call
Anything
away.
else?
Skype call
Anything
away.
else, fellas?
You know the vibes.
You know the vibes.